Good morning, everybody. Man, last night was a rough night of sleep. I did not sleep well at all. I don't know if you can see that by the look on my face and the 10-pound sandbags under my eyes, but I'm here and I'm really looking forward to our 10 minutes in the void today. Also, really happy that I have a timer that I'm going to set because otherwise I'd probably fall asleep. And who doesn't want to watch Andrew fall asleep and then, 3 hours of just me sleeping on YouTube? But that's not what we're going to do today. So today is 10 minutes in the void. And how we do that is I set my timer on my phone for 12 minutes, which gives us 2 minutes just to kind of settle in, breathe, give the waters, the internal waters, a chance to kind of still and go a little bit quiet. And then we spend 10 minutes together in the void in that space. And then the timer goes off and we're done. Of course, you can continue to stay in the void space if you would like to. But what we're doing in this video is 10 minutes together. For those of you who have not explored the void, I think a lot of people have this scary idea about it. And it's not scary. It's often intense, but I have yet to be scared in the void. And I've spent a lot of time in the void, especially over the past year. Generally in the void, and my experience in the void and what I tell people, you're only ever going to meet yourself there. And when we're talking about self, we're talking about the self with a capital S. My experience in the void has always been coming closer to self and to spirit. And there's really nothing to do. It's a matter of being. And in terms of how to access that space, obviously it's an internal experience. So what I can offer is imagine when you're meditating and you're breathing and you're finding that connection as you settle in and get comfortable for those first 2 minutes. Imagine that you are gently dropping to the bottom of yourself. Sort of like when you're a little kid and you are in a swimming pool and you play that game of like trying to sit on the bottom of the swimming pool. Am I the only one who used to do that? Anyway, that to me is the visual that I use for myself in terms of dropping into the depths of self. Another way you could look at it is think of settling down on the pelvic floor. So you're really kind of sinking into yourself and just allow yourself to settle within and stay there and breathe. If you find yourself getting distracted, if you ever find yourself feeling overwhelmed or uncertain, just come back to the breath. Remind yourself that it's safe for you to feel what you're feeling. It's safe for you to see what you're seeing. It's safe for you to hear what you are hearing. It is safe for you to know what you know. And just be. All of this is leading us up to the 3-part Void series starting this Sunday the 9th, entitled Releasing the Constructed Self. In this sense, the constructed self is essentially what we really are not. So the constructed self is a collection of coping mechanisms and stories and patterns and history and beliefs and those familial patterns that are passed down through generation, and the ideas and the ways of operating in this world that we pick up from that external experience of the world out there. And certainly it is important to have an identity, right? You need to know who you're seeing when you look at yourself in the mirror. And it is also important to understand that who you see in the mirror is literally the least of who and what you are. The truth of who and what you are is infinite, eternal, and divine. Oh, and sovereign too. So in this 3-part Void series, essentially what we're doing is we're allowing ourselves to release anything that no longer serves us. That can be an idea of who you are. That can be a way of seeing yourself and the world. That can be coping mechanisms. That can be old patterns of trauma or, trauma coping mechanisms. Anything essentially that just isn't you. And here's how I think of it. When it comes to trauma, suffering, and the histories that we often go through, yes, it's important for us to allow that process to occur. But it's also important to know that while your trauma or your human experiences may shape you, they do not define you. Think of it this way. Trauma and the histories of pain and suffering are not something that you are born with. They are not an organ that is necessary for the function of life. So if you weren't born with it, and it's not a necessity or a requirement for you living and for you being and thriving, then why do you need to hang on to it? So sit with that thought as we enter the void today. So I've got my timer here, setting that for 12 minutes. So again, 2 minutes to just kind of settle in, let the mind go quiet and still. Find that spot within where you can connect with all that you are. And then just breathe and be present for 10 minutes. And then once the timer goes off, we'll be done and I'll set you free. Spoiler alert, you're already free. Okay, here we go. went fast. That was 12 minutes in the void. Well, 10 minutes in the void. Thanks for joining me today. See you tomorrow.